Welcome back to another episode of Simpin After Dark, everyone. It's your girl, Ashley Mendoza, back for another episode. I took a little mini leave of absence last week. It was my birthday on Wednesday. So yeah, I just wanted to have some me time, do all that, celebrate. I am recovering still. It was like days of celebrations. It was great to be with my friends. I did some really cool things. My sister surprised me by taking me to the Magic Castle. So that was really dope. Went to go eat at some really good restaurants. Moon Shadows, look that up. It's fucking nice. Fellas, if you want to impress your girl, take her there. It's so dope. It's like right on the beach. It looks like you're on the water. It's really cool. So yeah, what else did I do? Just got drunk and ate good food, honestly. Like, what else could you ask for? That's it for me. So yeah, I'm ready to be back though, nice and refreshed a little bit, still detoxing, but ready to get back into this. I have a fun full episode planned today. I'm going to be talking about a new artist, in general, a new artist. I've talked about her before. Her name's Fousheé. She blew up on TikTok, but she just dropped a new project. So I'm going to be talking about her song Too Late from that. It's not really, I wouldn't say a cover, but she uses the chorus from Carole King's song. What is it called? It's Too Late. Yes. It's from the 70s. If you haven't heard it, go check it out after. I pulled a clip from both of the songs just because I kind of couldn't decide which one to go over. They're very different, actually, but I like both of them. And Fousheé is honestly so fucking talented. The episode that I did a song of hers was, her song was Single as Fuck, which was really cool too. But her voice is just really developed. She's super fucking talented, mini Ripperton vibes with the freaking little whistle notes. Her voice is amazing. And I can't really say she's R&B because she's low-key a little folky, indie, soul, a little bit of everything. She's really dope. So go check her out. And her project is called Time Machine. I think it came out in June. She has another cover on there. That one's a full cover, Depeche Mode's song Enjoy the Silence. So that one's a full cover, but this song, she named it Too Late. She uses the chorus from Carole King's It's Too Late. And definitely you could tell the difference. Fousheé's a lot younger, and you could tell with her lyrics and the content of what she talks about. Definitely more relatable if you're younger. Carole King's is a lot more timeless, the lyrics, and I love that more than anything. I 100% love a song that it doesn't matter if you listen to it in 2021 and it was written in the 70s, it still hits the same. So that's Carole King's version. Fousheé's is a little bit more, modern or whatnot. She has a lot of references, cultural references and things like that. She mentions quarantine. So I kind of want to get into Carole King's more just because it kind of ties into what I want to talk about this episode, which is I want to talk about the myth, I guess, or idea that after marriage, after you get married, that the sex life just dies, and how a lot of the blame is put on women. So I want to talk about kind of both sides of that, or just different perspectives on that, on the why, and just about why relationships die, because that's pretty much what this song is about, saying it's too late, there's nothing we can do now, we got to call it quits, go our separate ways, we tried, but we're not even trying anymore, this is fucking dead, throw it away. So I'm going to get into that, and then I have some tweets, of course, and then I have a little PSA about some safety issues on social media, stalkers and shit. It's fucking scary out here, ladies, so be careful. Stick around for that PSA. And I want to talk about white lies because I tweeted about it, and I was talking to someone about it, and I don't think a lot of people realize the amount of damage that white lies can cause, so we're going to get into it. So Carole King, she's a singer-songwriter. She was really popular in the 70s. And she actually has a shitload of writing credits and like co-writing credits with her ex-husband too. They wrote a song for like Aretha Franklin, and she recorded a song that went to the Cheryls, called Will You Love Me Tomorrow, which then Amy Winehouse did a cover of. It's one of my favorite songs, and shout out Amy Winehouse. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, queen, legend, icon, Virgo queen, you know, all that. I will eventually do an Amy Winehouse song on here, but I'm waiting for the right moment. But for right now, shout out Carole King, absolute legend, killing it on the songwriting game. And this song is like her most popular song, I would say, and I love it. It's such a fucking bop. Let's play a clip actually first. I'll play a clip of Foushé's and then Carole King. Yeah, so her voice is fucking beautiful, as you can tell. It's a really, really great cover, just for the sake of, I don't know what to call it. Like, is it a remix? I don't fucking know. Like a different rendition. I don't know. We'll call it a cover for this episode. And now let's play Carole King's. Yeah, I fuck with that song. I love the beat, like the instruments. It has a really dope like instrumental break in the middle with like a guitar, piano, and like some kind of blow horn, flute fucking thing. I do not know my instruments. I'm so sorry. Yeah, but let's get into some lyrics then. So I'll get into some of Foushé's because she does have some really cool lyrics. She says, verse 1, but you're well rested. How you go and hide depression? Doing nothing tells something. Can you not fuck up one thing? Damn, like, you know, when you're like so annoyed at like your partner that everything they do just like pisses you off, or you're like, can you fucking do anything right? Like at that point, I think it's over. Like you just gotta freaking like end it. It sucks. But I feel like I read something one time that kind of said like determining factors of whether a relationship will make it or not. And one of them for sure was like, if every time like they say something or like try to crack a joke or do something and you're just like disgusted or just like not amused kind of thing, where you're like angry, like it makes you angry, like that's a pretty early determining factor that like it's not gonna last, which 100% makes sense. I believe it, because like if you can't stand them now, like imagine 10 years later, bro. Then she says, you know, I'm calling, you're picking a fight, I'm stalling. Sorry you didn't reach out this morning. Could you not fuck up one thing? And yeah, I think everyone can relate to that. Saw you didn't reach out this morning. Once they don't hit you with a good night or good morning, beautiful, it's over. They don't like you anymore. They probably found someone new, or they're just like trying to get rid of you, sick of you. And like, don't take my word on it. Like, you should definitely have a conversation about it. But that's a pretty telling factor right there. And that's why the song is called It's Too Late, Baby. Because like, there's nothing you can do now. Like, it's done. And then verse 2, which is the clip I played, she says, under him once again, overthinking things. Love him, but a real dude never leave you wondering. And she's 100% right about that. Like, if there's one thing that a man will do if he fucks with you, is he's going to make sure that you know. Because guys fucking know that there's always somebody else there waiting for him to fuck up. So if he really fucks with you, he's going to make sure that you know it and that you feel the love. Like if he has no problem like leaving you like questioning things, just leaving you to get in your head about it, he doesn't love you. But that's why you need to like communicate it, like, because sometimes people just don't know how to communicate these things, or they like are probably expressing their love to you in a different language than you prefer or that you can understand. So have the conversation first, and then if you literally are like, I would appreciate if you did this, like this would make me feel loved or whatever, and if they're still not, that's your answer. They don't fucking like you. And then I like the last part of the verse 2. She says, and for my sanity, I'll never fall in love again. I changed your name to don't pick up the fucking phone again. And I know a lot of people felt that. Sometimes you got to like change someone's name to literally like don't answer, to remind yourself, because it's so easy to think that like time passes and like we can make it work. Like maybe just last time wasn't right. Like why did we even stop talking? Why did we break up? Like you have to freaking write don't. And then maybe keep a file. That's a good idea. Everyone should keep a file, like records of dudes or whoever you date, and like why things ended. Like document that shit. It's like journaling, but for like a relationship, to remind yourself, because it is really easy to forget these things because you're like in a different state of mind when you're in love. So if shit's falling apart and you're documenting it, and then you break up, time passes, and then you're like in love again, that spark comes back, like your brain is foggy. You're not thinking straight at all. So document it. Remember, it died. It was too late for a reason. All right, so that is enough of that song. I'm going to get into some of Carole King's lyrics. Like I said, they are a lot more timeless, relatable, like regardless of like age or anything like that. So verse 1, she says, stayed in bed all morning just to pass the time. There's something wrong here. There can be no denying. One of us is changing, or maybe we just stopped trying. So you already know, like, it's going to be sad as fuck when you lay in bed. That's like some depression shit. Like when you just don't want to face reality. Like if you're daydreaming or just like constantly like on your phone to ignore that like the relationship is dying. You don't want to face the facts. Sleeping in, going to bed early, taking naps, like you're not facing reality. Like you need a wake-up call. You need to deal with it because the other person in the relationship with you is still there, and it's not really fair. But I think once one person checks out, like that shit is about to crumble for real, like really quick. And then the chorus is, and it's too late, baby. Now it's too late, though we really did try to make it. Something inside has died, and I can't hide, and I just can't fake it. And that's so good. And I love that part about something inside has died, and I can't hide, and I just can't fake it. Because love really is like a living thing, like a relationship. Like you have to treat it like a little plant or a little baby or a pet, whatever, like something that like you need to nurture and like give time and attention to, like your focus, your energy, water it, like feed it, like whatever it is. Once like you start neglecting it or not giving it as much love, it's gonna start dying, or it's gonna get sick, it's gonna wither away, you know, metaphor wise. Like if we're talking like this is like a live breathing thing. But like she says, once it dies, it's too late. Like you killed it. You can't bring it back to life. And even if you did, it's going to be like some Frankenstein shit or Frankenweenie, if you've ever seen that movie. Which is probably not a good example because I love Frankenweenie, and he loves his dog that he brings back to life. And it's still cute, a good dog. But if we're talking Frankenstein, like the OG Frankenstein, the monster is like not really all there. Like, yeah, you brought it back to life, but like, is it still the same? No, it's a little, you know, rotten and probably going to be falling apart and going to require a lot more time and attention, and something that it probably could have endured when it was alive and it was healthy. It's not going to be able to like go through that the same anymore. I hope you guys are catching along with this comparison. I feel like in my head it's good, but if you're not catching on, I'm sorry. But and then verse 2, she says, it used to be so easy living here with you. You were light and breezy, and I knew just what to do. Now you look so unhappy, and I feel like a fool. That shit is sad as fuck. I've never lived with a person, but I can only imagine how difficult it must be for like the love to be dying and then like still have to be sleeping in the same bed, living in the same house, seeing each other, and just, that is heartbreaking. If the love dies, you can't do the same thing that you did when it was good to fix something. You can't do that anymore. It just doesn't come off the same. Like I was talking about earlier, like at this point, if you did something earlier in the relationship that made them laugh, if you try it once the love is dead, they're probably going to think you're fucking annoying, honestly. So you got to like nurture it while it's there. But then verse 3, she says, there'll be good times again for me and you, but we just can't stay together. Don't you feel it too? Still, I'm glad for what we had and how I once loved you. So it's like a cute little bittersweet, happy ending, you know, just acknowledging like, you know, it was good while it lasted and we'll be happy again, but just not together. And that's like, once you have that realization, it's good to like walk away on like a good note. Like, let's end this now before it gets worse for both of us. Like, let's walk away with both of us acknowledging that we tried. But I feel like for Foushée's version, it's a lot more bitter than bittersweet. Like, she's like, fuck you, I'm never taking your calls again. You're a dick. So it's cool, like, comparing both of them. Different kind of vibe, but same chorus. Seeing how, like, two different people can perceive that type of dynamic in a relationship ending. So what made me want to talk about this topic, I was on TikTok, scrolling the huge, and I saw a video of these two ladies. They're a little bit older, maybe like in their 40s or something. I don't know if they were comedians or if it was like a podcast or what it was. But they were talking about how, like, they don't suck their husband's dicks anymore. And, like, it grosses them out, like, even the thought of it. And I was, like, so shook. Because, like, I've never been married. So I can't speak for, like, people in, like, very long-term relationships. But I've been in long relationships. And, like, I have never, like, been like, ew, no, I'm over it. Like, I like doing that. And I like receiving it. So where does that disconnect happen? And that's what I want to get into, because I feel like, of course, like the way these women were talking about it, I was like, damn, like I was reading the comments and dudes were like pissed and they're like, this is why we cheat, or like find it elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it, bro. Like, cheating's never cool. But yeah, like if you just are disgusted at your partner and like they're doing everything right, then yeah, that's a problem. But I don't think a lot of people realize, or like what men don't realize is, are you doing things to make her want to suck your dick? Because there are many things that can make a list of things you could do to make a girl want to suck your dick. And if you're not being helpful or you're not emotionally connecting, you're probably not going to get your dick sucked. So it is in everyone's best interest to nurture the relationship and nurture that deeper emotional connection. But that lady was straight up like, yeah, my husband asked me for head the other day, and I was just like, ew, no, like, can't you just go find a masseuse and get a happy ending? Go find someone else to do that for you. Like, she was so fucking over it. Like, they probably should get divorced. Or I don't know, like, I'm not married. Like, that's why marriage, like, freaks me out, the way married people talk about each other and just being grossed out of each other. Like, it's fucking sad. Like, I can't ever picture, like, not wanting to, like, suck my boyfriend's dick if he's doing everything right. And I do understand, like, not wanting to and, like, being, like, too mad or, like, whatever it is, like, grossed out. Like, if you find out they cheated or lied to you or, like, they're just being a shitty partner. I understand that. But that's why, like, I don't like the way it's portrayed in movies, that it's always like, oh, my wife, the old ball and chain, she just nags and we just don't have sex ever. Like, let's address why not. Let's address why she doesn't fucking like you anymore. Because you could be married to someone and in love and still not like each other. And that's where the disconnect is. Because let's talk about it. Like, why, as a man, are you attracted to your wife? You want to fuck her, right? Like, you're aroused by her. That means she's doing something right to make you want to, like, have sex with her, like, to make you be attracted to her. Like, that can't just be you on your own. So then why isn't that happening on her end? Are you not doing something to be attractive? Are you not making yourself desirable to her? Like, what's happening here? And I think what it is that men are just, like, turned on the spot. Like, anything can just, like, turn them on, which isn't to say that that doesn't happen to women sometimes, but I think for women a lot more, it's a longer process. It's more of like a mental stimulation type thing. Like, it starts in the morning, or like, what's the last conversation you had on the phone? Because if you were, like, being dry as fuck all day and then at night you expect to have sex, you got me fucked up. Like, talk to me nice, do things for me, all that. And if you're like, well, you don't have to do that for me. Okay, because your dick just gets hard and you're horny all the time as a man. Like, you guys literally just are horny for no reason. Like, if you know it takes more for a woman and you want to have that, like, sexual connection, then do what needs to be done. Like, you're going to complain for what? Or go cheat because you're too lazy to like put in work to your relationship. See what I'm saying? Like, you need to like regroup with yourself and be like, love language. What can I do to make her feel loved? Send her money to get her nails and toes done or something, or go to the spa, buy her a gift, just do something, like literally any kind gesture. I promise you, you'll get some more head. And like, I know that has to be harder for like couples with kids. I feel like that more than marriage is where the sex life kind of like goes downhill. Because like, if you got kids, you don't have really time for yourself. Like, you're probably exhausted. At least that's what I picture in my head, like having kids. Like, if I've ever babysat or like had to watch a kid for a little bit, it's so draining. Like, it takes so much energy. Like, little kids have you on your toes. They want to be entertained like the whole time. They don't let you breathe. They don't let you look at your phone. Like, they want your phone. It takes a lot. So shout out to the parents that still manage to have a sex life, to like prioritize that, because that's what it takes, honestly, is just prioritization. If you're not even like trying to keep that alive, it's not going to happen on its own. Like, if your energy is just on the kids and like housework, I get how easy it is to like let that part slip. So shout out to the couples that make it work. And if you're like the dad and your wife is just like always too tired for sex, like, are you helping her enough? Are you splitting the housework and taking care of the kids? Because if you're not, then I understand why she's too tired and probably fucking pissed that you're not helping out. Like, I just think of like Family Guy with like Peter and Lois, and like the way, I don't understand how he pulled Lois. She's like hot, like, and he's not, clearly. And she's just the only sane one. And she's like intelligent and he's not. Like, he doesn't do shit. Like, he cannot function. And she does everything. And I think maybe people look at that and like think that that's like the normal thing. Because you look at other like shows like Love and Marriage, not Love and Marriage, Married with Children. That was the theme song. But yeah, it's like same thing. Or I feel like that marriage dynamic was different, but like he just always looked so annoyed at his wife, and like they just like kind of hated each other. And it was just another case of like, why is she so much hotter than him? But basically what I'm just trying to say is, don't look at that as like reality, because like in real life, Peter could never pull Lois and she would never want to fuck him. Like, the way she still wants to fuck him on that show is mind blowing. Like, that's like a mystery. All right, so I have some tweets. All right, so this first one just kind of directly ties to what I've been talking about. At Jay Leno with 3 A's said, men always complain about how quick I am to leave, and I get it. Nobody wants a flight risk. But at the same time, I'm not staying where I'm unhappy for too long. It's not my nature. And I 100% agree. And I do get what she's talking about. Like, nobody wants to like deal with a flight risk. Like, having to like walk on eggshells or be scared that like if you don't get it right one day that your partner is going to leave. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, that's also like probably not healthy, like having to deal with someone that will like up and leave at like the drop of a dime. But if it's like a constant thing where like things are being communicated, and like usually it is the woman that's always like aware of the connection and having to be the one to like check in and be like, how are we doing? Like, what can I do to make things better? Or like just being like the freaking like therapist and manager of the relationship, which is annoying if you're the only one. So like, if that's all happening, you cannot be upset when someone leaves if they're not happy, because life is pretty long. Like, it's short, but it's long, you know? Like, there's no point in staying in a relationship because like you think you can't find someone else, or because you've invested so many years, or because you're even married, or even because you have kids. Like, yes, try, but you're still young. Like, I don't think there's any age where it's like, might as well stick it out. Like, maybe when you're fucking 70, I don't fucking know, because at that point, like, you're just probably too fucking tired, or I don't know. But even then, I've seen some old cute couples that are all romantic and in love still. So my standards are a little high. And then at I'm the Reason Why tweeted The one who successfully softens you up and keeps you soft in their presence is probably the one for you. Friends, partners, whatever. Softness means comfort and trust. And for me, it takes a lot for me to soften because it takes a lot for me to trust. And I 100% agree with that, relate to it, all that, cosign. Because, yeah, I think for a lot of people, like, if you've been through it, like, it takes a lot to trust someone and open up. And if you're in a relationship where, like, the trust keeps getting tested, or, like, the loyalty or the communication or the commitment, it, like, keeps getting tested and tested, it's going to take a lot more for you to open up. And that can be frustrating for, like, the other person, because to them, it's like, oh, it's just an innocent mistake or whatever. Like, why do you have to, like, close up like this every time it's a mistake? And, like, you need to be understanding that it does take a lot. Like, some people, it's hard to, like, trust. Like, they've been through it. They could be jaded. So, like, if you're going to be, like, fucking up here and there, you need to give them time to open back up, and, like, not just, like, wait for them to open up, but, like, be proactive about it. Like, help them open up. Go above and beyond to, like, make them feel comfortable and, like, they can trust you and, like, they are in a safe place with you. And that's the most important thing in a relationship, is to feel like you're in a safe place, like, where the, like, help and communication and, like, mutual understanding is, like, on 100, and where you know that you can communicate these problems and they will be heard, and where you're going to be understood, most importantly. Because if it's, like, not only you're having these problems, but also you can't even bring them up because it turns into, like, a whole fucking ordeal every time, that person's definitely not going to feel safe. Can't even come talk to your person. Like, I would be out. Like, if you're that mad that your partner's trying to fix things, you don't like them. And then all that brings me to my tweet that I mentioned earlier. I said, lying to someone to save yourself a headache in the short run is only going to cause a lot of damage in the long run. And I am just so right. Just spitting facts always. Because, yeah, I think white lies, or lies in general, obviously are fucked up and are going to ruin everything, the whole dynamic. Like, it's fucking spoiled, right? But I don't think people think enough about how much damage white lies can cause. Because I think people like to excuse white lies and try to make it seem like they're doing it to spare the other person's feelings. You know, you always hear, like, oh, like, I'm sorry, babe. Like, I just lied because I just was too lazy to tell you the whole story, or because I just thought you would be mad, or, like, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, or it sounded more believable, or what, like, I don't know. Like, people say the dumbest shit to try to flip it and make it seem like it's about not hurting you, when really it's just they're selfish. They didn't want to deal with the headache of telling you the truth and you being upset, probably rightfully so. Even if not, like, communicate. Like, there's going to be a lot more damage caused in the long run once they find out you're lying than if you would just tell the truth and just deal with the communication. And, like, I can't imagine dealing with, like, a pathological liar. Like, I don't know how those people are in relationships, or if they can even successfully be in one, like, long term. Because if you're lying about every little thing, and sometimes you're going to get caught up without someone even, like, trying to question you. You can be telling a story, and then once it comes up again, you tell it a little bit differently. There's a new detail, something you left out, or, like, a detail that you mentioned now completely changed, you know? Like, that's going to kill the trust, because now the other person's wondering, like, what the fuck else you're lying about, or why are you lying about that thing? What else are you lying about? Why are you trying to hide something? Like, is there something, was there a bigger reason for a white lie, or was it really because this or that, you know? That shit will fucking haunt your dreams. Like, you'll start freaking having nightmares about your partner cheating on you if you deal with that shit constantly, and that's not healthy either. I fucking hate those dreams. Yeah, and I wanted to talk about, I said I had a little PSA because there's been some fucking wild shit on Twitter lately. Well, first, last week I saw, a couple weeks ago maybe, something about a woman that had died, like she was murdered in Houston. I was looking it up and I'm pretty sure it was Houston. She was like a IG influencer, like slash model or whatever. Her name was Janae Gagnier or something. She was like 33. And I think her name was like Miss Mercedes Moore or something like that. Apparently some dude like fucking stalked her, like he was like obsessed with her, found out where she lived. I was trying to find details because on Instagram, I'm not sure if it was about this story or another one where they said that he had found out where she lived based on like pictures that she would post online. Like not even like the name of the apartment complex or anything like that. I'm talking about people were saying that she was standing in front of the window and like based on the skyline that was showing in her window, and then based on another picture she posted where like you could see different shit in the apartment. Like people are crazy. This fool found out where she lived. Like I think he flew from out of state to find her. Came in her house. He killed her. She died of like strangulation and like blunt force trauma or something like that. Really fucked up. And then they found him dead with like sharp stab wounds. So please be careful, ladies, especially because there are crazy fucking stalkers out there. We know, ladies, how much of detectives we are when we're trying to find information. Like imagine a fucking crazy stalker dude. They could find out so much information about you. Like social media is wild. Like the internet is wild. The amount of information that you could find about someone is crazy. Like based on fucking pictures, geotags, like there's hacking websites. It's really fucking scary, honestly. And like RIP to her. Like it's so fucking just sad. Like there are no words. And what reminded me to talk about that was literally, I think like yesterday, there was a video that went around of this guy. It was recorded on like a Ring camera, I believe, or some kind of like front door camera, you know, where he goes up to this girl's door and he's just like talking to her through it. Like she said that she wasn't home, but she's like talking to him through the little microphone because you could like talk through it even if you're not home. So basically he's like, oh, like I saw you, you're so beautiful, like let me talk to you, like, oh, let me get your number, or like take my number, blah blah blah, like can I come in, type of thing. And she's just like trying to be like, you know, cool about it. And like first I want to point out like this dude looks like he is not all there. Like mentally something is going on. So this isn't even really just about him. This is more just about like what he did. Like he freaking went up to her freaking door uninvited. He said that he had saw her somewhere in the complex and that he lived in the complex also. So he like followed her, which is really fucking scary, especially an apartment complex. Like, what the fuck? Like, you never know what kind of crazy person is living there. And, like, even if something was, like, off with him, like, you never know, like, if it's drugs or what it is or, like, how easily they can be triggered. You don't know what their triggers are. Like, maybe if she would have been, like, rude to him and been like, oh, I'm calling the cops, or, like, no, you can't fucking have my number, weirdo, like, creep. Because guys are always like, just tell them, like, no, you can't have my number, or like, just be a bitch or whatever. As if there aren't so many stories about women getting murdered for turning dudes down and not giving them their number. Like, it is 100% the easier fucking route to just give someone your number and then like block them or ignore them than it is to be a bitch or call them a creep or not give them your number, you know? Yeah, so it was just like so weird. Like he was just like trying to be all fucking smooth, but he wasn't. Like he's like, oh, sexy, like, like, what? No, like, it's not okay. And then there was dudes like, yeah, that takes a lot of balls. Like, bro, what? Like, you're a creep too. Like, if you think that takes balls, like, you're looking at that like he's a fucking hero or something. Like, what? Like, you're sick in the head. Get some perspective, please. Read the news once in a while. Women are fucking terrified of men. Some of y'all are fucking scary and creepy. So just be careful, women. Don't fucking post where you're at. If you ever post that you're at a restaurant or whatever, wait until you leave. Don't ever post while you are currently somewhere. Also, because you never know if somebody is currently in the process of stalking you, and they know if you're like posting on your IG story and you're like, oh, I'm here, whatever, and they know that you're out and you're probably going to be coming home. What if they already found out where you lived and they could be waiting in your house for you to get home if they know that you live alone or something? Like, you have to be really fucking careful. Like, don't post, like, if you're going on vacation, don't post what hotel you're going to, like, the days that you're going or nothing like that. Like, unless you're trying to get murdered. Like, just be smart because you hear about this shit all the time and you fucking never know who's watching you. you can only be so aware, like to the point of like not like crossing into being paranoid territory. Like you have to live your life still. Like you can't like live your life being like constantly looking over your shoulder. Like yes, to a degree, but other than that, like it's up to you just like taking precautions. All right, guys, that is a wrap on this episode. My voice is shot. I don't know if it's from celebrating so many days. It's still my birthday month though. But yeah, this was fun. And thank you guys for sticking around. Go check out Fousheé. She's definitely coming up. And shout out to Carole King for making such a fucking timeless bop. I think this is my first time doing like an older song, I believe. But yeah, let me know which version you enjoy better. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at Simpin After Dark. Follow me on TikTok at Simpin After Dark. And on Twitter also at Simpin After Dark. You can follow my personal IG at Ash_Friday_. Shout out to Wild 7 Studios for hosting Simpin After Dark every week. Go give them a follow on Instagram. Go follow Amigas' series on Instagram to keep up with the series that I am co-producing and acting in. If you want to see what else I'm up to. And follow Nightshade Collective, my girls. I'm always up to something. So yes, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
You're listening to the Wild 7 Podcast Network. Listen different.